The New England Patriots select safety Kyle Dugger with their 37th overall pick, their first choice in the 2020 NFL Draft. I'm Sierra Goodwill, here with Evan Lazar and Mike Petraglia. This was an absolute shocker. We think that the Patriots probably could have gotten Dugger a little later on in this draft, but he was their guy. Evan, what do you know about Dugger, and why do the Patriots like him so much?
Well, he's a guy that really rose up the draft board after the combine, Sierra. He tested in the 99th percentile, absolutely killed the combine in every way possible. This is a freak athlete that is raw and is coming up from the D2 level, so there's going to be some adjustment that need to be made there, an adjustment to the level of competition. But in terms of what he put on tape at Line or Ren, there were times, quite frankly, where he looked bored with his level of competition because he was so much better than everybody else on the field that if you watch him, maybe there are times where it looks like he's not hustling or he's not playing hard. I think it's honestly because he could run at 85% and still be able to outrun everybody else that was on the field. That's the type of athlete that we're talking about. Great range over the top of the defense. Also has the ability to come down and guard slot receivers and tight ends. He can play in the box against the run and defeat blocks and go sideline to sideline and run guys down. He's a 4-down player, can play on special teams in the kicking game as well, return punts, do that too. I think the biggest thing is that this morning Albert Breer reported that the Patriots were reportedly trying to move back again in the second round. My guess is that Dugger was their guy all along, but they felt like they could get him a little later, as we all do, and they wanted to trade down to make the value and the need or the player match up a little bit better, and they probably just didn't get the right trade offer that they wanted, so they just cut their losses and just took the player.
The way I read this, Sierra and Evan, Isaiah Simmons, the fantastic player out of Clemson, and certainly a lot of people around New England may not have seen Kyle Dugger play, but if you're a college football fan and watched Isaiah Simmons play during his tenure for Clemson, this is the kind of impact player that I think the Patriots feel they're getting. Somebody, like Evan said, that can play all over the defensive backfield, play all over the defense for that matter, and we all know how Bill Belichick and his staff love versatility on defense, and this is certainly checks that box, and that's why I think that's what really drove them to make this pick.
When the Patriots were on the clock, we were excited about their options because there were a lot of guys that we previewed before the draft began as perfect Patriots prospects that were still on the board. Wide receiver Denzel Mims, Zach Bond, all these guys that we had talked in depth about as great fits for the Patriots, potential first-round talent that the Patriots decided to pass up on. Is this a decision they're going to regret?
It's going to be a decision that we're going to compare to those guys for a long time, and even compare to Xavier McKinney, who went one pick before Kyle Dugger. The Patriots took Kyle Dugger. We're going to be comparing him to those guys forever, right? Denzel Mims, even the guys at 23 that they passed on to take Dugger instead. Listen, it's a reach. It's a reach of a pick from us, our perspective, from the media perspective. But one thing you got to learn about Bill Belichick is that his board is different from everybody else's board. And I'm convinced that he went down to the Senior Bowl at Mobile and he saw a guy that is a defensive chess piece in Kyle Dugger, that he can move around the entire defensive backfield and back seven, play him at linebacker, play him at safety, play him at slot corner, have him guard in certain matchups in certain weeks. This is a guy that 1 week they can go ahead and put on Travis Kelce. The next week they can spy a Russell Wilson in the box with him. I'm not trying to sell you guys on the pick. I understand that it's, a little bit of a reach at this spot, a D2 player from Line or Ren. Most of you have probably never heard of him, but when you really watch him on tape and then you look at the combine results, this is a big-time athlete with big-time potential and skill. So although I understand some of the hesitations about another second-round defensive back, is this Jordan Richards? Is this Tavon Wilson? I think that he's got a little bit better of an athletic profile than those guys did, and he can make a little bit more of an impact on the game than somebody like a Richards or a Wilson can.
You know what goes out the window? The argument that Bill Belichick will default to a big school who has a player who has played in big time competition. That's not exactly the case with this pick, but certainly, you have to give Bill Belichick the benefit of the doubt because he goes after his players and players he feels will be most comfortable contributing right away in his system. And I think that's what they feel Kyle Dugger will be.